The NBA's Eastern Conference may have the best team in the league, but it's far from pretty the further down you go on the list. So what we're going to do today is try to the best of our ability to seed each team in the conference to see who are the contenders, who are the dark horses, and the tanking teams, and everything in between. Drop a like if you enjoy. Remember to subscribe for more NBA content right here on the Board YouTube channel. Playoff teams would signify a team that's going to make the playoffs, probably wouldn't make noise there. Play-in teams would signify a team that'll get into the play-in tournament, probably won't get out of it. Missing playoffs would be a team that's trying, at least in some capacity, to be a play-in team, but won't get there. And tanking is very self-explanatory. So we're going to go in order here. We can obviously make changes as we go. But what's your thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets get us started here? Currently the 11 seed, and they are 3 games back of that 10 seed Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, so I guess this is either a missing playoffs or a play-in team. I'm ready to write them off. They're terrible. There's not that many games left. Missing playoffs. They had a Toronto Raptors-esque trade deadline where they just didn't trade anyone for no reason. And there's been reports that Stars want to group up with Mikal Bridges. I think that's ridiculous. Mikal Bridges is probably the most overrated player in the NBA. Yeah, they're just not much of a team at this point.
Bit of a hot take. I think Mikal Bridges is very good, though I don't think there are stars lining up to play next to him. I think he's the guy that should be lining up to play next to other stars. But,
yeah, I think he's really good. Like, this might be a hot take. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Very close. Who would I rather? Very close.
I don't know.
Maybe we'd go OG, honestly.
Mikal's got the self-creation stuff that OG just doesn't have. It's never
but Mikal's self-creation stuff is like on a high-level team. It's just I don't really believe in it at all.
All right. Well, I don't want to dwell too long with the Brooklyn Nets here. I agree with their position here. They don't have their pick, if I'm not mistaken, so there's no point of them tanking. They're going to try and get to the play-in tournament, but probably won't get there. Boston's pretty easy. We are both going to agree that they are contenders. Don't think we need to dwell on that anymore. Atlanta. So I think this one's kind of easy here. If Brooklyn is missing the playoffs, then Atlanta probably just stumbles into the play-in tournament.
Yeah, so Atlanta's a play-in team. They're really injured. They're a complete disaster right now as well. But yeah, they'll be in the play-in and maybe they'll be healthy for the play-in. So we'll see.
There are a lot of good reasons for the play-in tournament, keeping the league more relevant longer. However, this is a pretty bad example for what the play-in tournament can do, because you have 35-win Pacers, 35-win Sixers occupying play-in tournament spots, and then 30-win Bulls, and then 28-win Atlanta Hawks. So a team that is very much under 500 is going to be challenging for a playoff spot. So there should probably be some sort of cutoff. Like, you should probably have to be within a certain amount of games for other teams to be able to compete in this, as they did in the bubble. But I don't know. I think it's a good revenue stream for them to have this. So can't see them doing that. But
yeah, exactly. The league just will never really do anything to like have things be variable. They never want to take away that game. But I agree with you. In a better world where money was less important, it would be a better way to do it.
Absolutely. We go to the Chicago Bulls. We're getting right around the play-in tournament here. They're pretty locked in here at a play-in team. Any disagreements?
Yeah, the 9-10 in the East is pretty locked. There's just really no mobility. The Bulls are, better than the Nets, at least.
At least better than the Nets. That's the Chicago Bulls season after
the only thing I have to say about the Bulls is if Kobe White wins Most Improved Player, something's gone horribly wrong in this world.
Tyrese Maxey's like the overwhelming favorite, isn't he?
Yeah. Is he going to win, though? Are we sure he's going to win?
I don't think it's as clear cut as sportsbook odds suggested as Maxey, but
I think it's one of those where he like really rocketed into the favorite, and now it's going to be like Joel got hurt and they fell to.
That's true.
They might talk about. I don't want to jump ahead in our tier list, but they might fall into that bucket. So we'll see. But yeah, if it's not Maxey, it should absolutely not be Kobe White.
Let's go to the Cavaliers here. They're quite good. You're very high on them, so I'll let you lead us off here. How high are you willing to put the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Very high on them as a regular season team. Am I high on them as a playoff team?
Okay.
I don't think so. This is a tough one. This is one of the tougher spots. I am going to say they are a playoff team. I don't think they're.
That's where I was going to put them, and you're higher on them than I am. So I'll happily
I don't think, especially with this has been a bit of a season from hell in terms of injuries. It's unbelievable how good they've been considering the injuries.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like, what is dark horse? You know, do they have a 5% chance of winning the title? No.
Dark horse for me would be if they win, it's not surprising.
It would
like
be surprising.
not overly surprising.
Yeah, like I would put their odds at right now, you know, like under 2%. So
playoff team. You'd be shocked, like completely shocked if they won the championship. I'd say that's the level I'd probably consider.
Yeah, it would be really cool though if they did, but they're not gonna.
Let's go to the Charlotte Hornets.
Tanking.
They're tanking. I mean, this is not a team trying to win at this point. We agree there.
Oh, absolutely. But Brandon Miller, slept on at the draft, still being slept on. Brandon Miller is very good. Very good. Very good. He's by far and away the Hornets' best piece going forward.
I saw somebody mention, like, if Brandon Miller is the best piece, do you trade LaMelo Ball and build around Brandon Miller? That was a conversation going around. For me, it was like, if you're a bad team, you should probably just keep your good players so they can play together.
To me, you trade LaMelo because he stinks and doesn't take basketball seriously, not anything to do with Brandon Miller.
How you feel about LaMelo Ball? LaMelo Ball is a very good basketball player.
I'm so sick of these unserious players. Like, it's just not.
I think if he's on one of the most unserious teams. Now, granted, he might factor into that attitude of the team. But I think if you gave him a serious team and a serious environment, he would thrive and be very good.
Possibly.
And be an all-star
I think that's certainly the argument to keep him. So I have no problem keeping him or not. I'm just saying the reason to trade him is I think he's pretty unserious and he's just like, it's so frustrating when he comes back from injury and he's missed 20 games and he comes back and he's just like he doesn't take any time of like, oh, I'm back, I'm gonna really lock in here. It's 15 threes where he's shooting them like from 32 feet. Like, he's one of the most frustrating players because in my head, if you look back and say, okay, LaMelo Ball is going to be this good of a shooter, how good is he going to be? It's like, oh my God, he should be unbelievable. And he's just not that. But yeah, I guess he's worth keeping because like maybe he had some tail outcomes. He's had a pretty weird, unique career. He still has some high upside outcomes for sure.
Agreed. We'll move on to the Pistons here. I mean, this one's obvious. This team is tanking. We will challenge ourselves to seed these teams as well, and perhaps end the season revisit this list and see where we were right and where we were wrong. So Pistons,
like, Are we saying seeding in terms of like where they end up in the standings, or how depressed you should be if you're a fan of that?
Well, by seeding in the standings, so we will have to gauge near the bottom Wizards and Pistons if they're on the same tier.
Big matchup tomorrow for that.
Yes, absolutely. We go to the Indiana Pacers. They've got a chance. I mean, right now it's a very tight East. They're 8th right now, but like a 3-game win streak, and they might be a 5th seed. Honestly, mathematically they could be a home seed if they win a few games in a row here.
Yeah, but it's hard to say because
they're on a downward spiral.
Yeah, they've been bad, but I guess putting them in the same bucket as the Bulls and the Hawks just feels kind of disrespectful. Like, yeah, technically they'll be in the play-in, but I think
they'll get out and be but I mean, like,
pretty likely to be in the playoffs. Yeah, exactly. So
I'd put them up here.
Yeah, I guess technically put them in the playoffs. Yeah, like they're right around the quality of like. Yeah, I guess they're right around the quality of like the Magic. I wish there was a sub tier of just like Magic Pacers who probably will be in the play-in, but are way better than the Bulls and Hawks, but worse than those other teams.
I thought 6 was enough tiers here. I didn't want to go overboard. But I
totally
agree.
Fair.
If I had to, they'd be in between like the Cavs and then the Bulls and the Hawks. But
yeah, Yeah.
I think they're more or closer to the Cavs than they are to the Bulls and the Hawks. Miami, this is one that also in sort of similar spot. I feel, however, there's always that aura around Miami in the playoffs. Does that give you enough to suggest they could be a dark horse, or are they a playoff team, or maybe worse?
Yeah, like I would say they're a dark horse of like making a run, but they're not going to win the championship. So they're definitely not a dark horse to me. They're going to playoff teams, but Zombie Heat, like again, it's kind of like, yeah, you look, they've been really good of late. They're pretty good roster, honestly. Like they've got a lot of guys. Bam's been having like maybe not his best season. So yeah, I think they're a playoff team, but they're again kind of having this weird year where they're like bad all year and then start to figure it out near playoff time, maybe.
Do you put them above or below the Cavaliers in terms of let's say call it championship probability?
Below the Cavs, but clearly above the Pacers.
Okay, so they're in that third tier, the playoff team tier. Now we go to the Raptors. Interestingly, they are very much underdogs to make the play-in tournament. I think it's a bit off, but 5 games back with 20 games remaining. Probably still, for me, a team that's going to be battling it out but misses the playoffs. I don't think they're going to catch the Hawks. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I would say they're either missing playoffs or tanking. So, yeah. Brooklyn and Toronto are like, they're like the Spider-Man meme. So feels perfect to have them right next to each other.
Would you put the Raptors above Brooklyn? We'll say standing wise, who finishes above the other? I'm not.
What are their current records? I don't have that.
So Brooklyn are 2 games up on Toronto.
No. I have those teams as like right around the exact, like they're right next to me. I have my list pulled up of like my personal power ratings. They are right next to each other. Feels very appropriate.
We got to choose. No, we got to put one ahead of the other.
I have to put one ahead of the other. In terms of standings, I'll definitely go Brooklyn because I have them as like around the same, and Brooklyn has a couple wins.
Okay. I'll go with you here. I'm not convinced that will be the case, but I'll leave it as it. I think the Raps are more likely to tank. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say. The Raptors are just more likely to tank as well.
I don't think they will though, on purpose at least.
Yeah, well, like Scotty's done. Like, yeah, I agree. I probably don't think RJ and Quickly sit much, but I don't know.
They're gonna be bad, and Pirtle out as well. That's actually massive as well.
We're 10-point dogs to the Suns tonight, and they don't have Booker, so that's a good example of how bad.
Very good example. And 41-point loss at home last game. Another good example. Let's go to the Milwaukee Bucks. Have they done enough post All-Star break to reaffirm any sort of status as a contender? Are they a dark horse, or are they in that same tier with the other playoff teams?
Clearly not a playoff team. Either a dark horse or a contender. I would put them.
I ain't putting them next to Boston. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like if they're in contender status, like Boston's way more of a contender than Milwaukee. Like I definitely don't think it would be shocking if Milwaukee wins the title. I think they're probably like 7%, 6%.
So dark horse. I think
so. Yeah, does that make you a dark horse? Though that's like a pretty good chance of making of winning the championship. But
so in between contender and dark horse for
yes,
but not enough to put them next to Boston.
Like Milwaukee's right there in terms of like they're probably the third most likely team to win the title. Is that crazy to say? I think I would have that.
How about I'll amend my rules here. We'll add a row above and we'll call it the Boston tier, because Boston. Oh, did I mess up here? Well, Boston are their own team here. We'll satisfy.
Yeah, I like that.
I hate doing this.
I'm fine to have Milwaukee and dark horse. Yeah, okay, we could put them in contender. Sure.
Okay, so does that new tier make Cleveland a dark horse for you ahead of Miami and Indiana, or does that still keep them there?
Good question.
All right, let's leave it. Let's revisit.
No. Put Cleveland in dark horse. If we're defining, like has percentage chance, like it's not below a 1% chance to win the title, Cleveland is certainly there.
Does that allow Miami to move up too?
No, Miami's not winning.
No, keep Miami. All right, New York Knicks. If they're healthy, they're clearly a dark horse to me, but
I agree. They're very similar to the Cavs, but man, this team is being bad of late. They're just going to be they're just at such a standing disadvantage to Cleveland at this point. No, I think they're in playoff teams, honestly.
Okay.
I think they're a worse team than the Cavs.
I think they're top of the playoff teams, though.
I agree. They're close to a dark horse, but they're probably going to be like the Cavs could finish 2 in the East. That's a big help. You know, you get a couple home series and then get a bit lucky versus the Knicks have a serious, they could fall to the play-in. I don't really see why
That's
not.
true.
So
Playoff.
I think playoff teams is fair.
All right, the Magic have gone on a surge. Is that enough to put them dark horse, or be keeping them as a playoff team?
No. They're clearly worse than New York and Miami, and worse than Indiana.
Worse than Indiana's. But I still think they're a playoff team. I think they'll be
Yes,
in the playoffs.
agreed. I have them as a playoff team, and like if we're ranking in terms of standings, they're probably ahead of Indiana. They've got 2 wins on them, 2 losses. Like they're fully 2 games ahead. So yeah, they'll. If I had to predict standings, I would have Orlando ahead of them, but Indiana has more upside to me.
Okay, 76ers, kind of a yikes spot for them right now.
Gotta put them in dark horse just because Embiid could be back. But yeah, they're a total disaster.
Oh, do you put? I don't put them. You want to put them dark horse?
Well, fully healthy, they were like the second best team in the East.
Yeah,
this year,
but
so.
I don't know. You gotta.
And Embiid says he's gonna come back. Like I would give them I think we put them in dark horse.
Okay.
It's a tough road, but there's a plausible chance they have the best player in the league on their team in the playoffs. Like you can't have them as a
player when he's not healthy, though.
No, that's fair, and he's probably gonna come back pretty out of shape. But again, like there's a world where things go really right for them.
Okay, fair enough. Final one. This one's tough. Are the Wizards above or below the Pistons in the standings?
I can't say I've looked into it too much.
I might put them below.
Yeah, they're probably below. Both up. It really depends on today and tomorrow, honestly. Detroit has a good chance of winning today. Washington has a good chance of winning tomorrow. So we'll see. But yeah, let's put Washington at the
All right. The most unserious team in the league at the basement here. There is our Eastern Conference tier list. I'm pretty happy with as is. I don't think it needs any changes.
Yeah, no, it looks good to me. Looks pretty much exactly how I'd have it. Boston in a tier of its own, Milwaukee in a tier of its own.
Yeah.
Dark horse playoff teams, you could have some debate. Indiana and Orlando. I love making sub tiers. They're probably a sub tier to me, but
we can't
otherwise.
There's already enough tiers here.
I agree. Otherwise, looks good.